Hello, everyone. Good evening once again. Welcome back to the live session of Mentorcard. Today, our guest is Shilpa Ajwani, and we have been talking to entrepreneurs, advisors, investors. Everybody has come on board and have been talking to you during this lockdown period. And Shilpa Ajwani is the founder and CEO of Unomantra. Unomantra is a business consulting firm, and I think so. We will ask Shilpa what all they do. And what I like about is that they are enabling consumer and lifestyle businesses, right? Beauty, fashion, wellness, healthcare, etc. Most of them are going to be thriving during this post-COVID looks like, right? So healthcare, wellness, everything is going to grow, as we have been hearing this from all of our speakers, right? Shilpa also is also a social selling expert, and she's a leadership coach and a keynote speaker as well. She has been very popular, and she has been she's also a former MD of Tupperware, right? So let me bring Shilpa on the screen and welcome her. And thank you, guys. You have been coming and always watching our sessions. So look forward to have lot many questions coming from you on the show. Welcome to the show, Shilpa. Thank you very much for joining us today. Are you able to hear me?
Hi, Ashish, and everyone. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be with Matt and you and your audience today.
Thank you very much. So, Silpa, first I would like to know from you about basically Uno Mantra, as some of the people might not be knowing you. So, by the way, just to tell you how this works out, this video is right now live, and there are people who started already coming in. And after that, this video always continue to exist in the live feed of Facebook, and then and YouTube also, and our app also. So this will get watched over the period of time by many people. So we would like to know a little more about Uno Mantra, and then we take it out forward from there. Shilpa, are you able to hear me? Looks like we have a bad connection. Shilpa, you can join from the other device if possible. So by the time the Shilpa comes back, maybe we can keep talking about it, and we'll wait for her to join back. So as in the couple of sessions in the past, we have been talking about post-COVID era and pre-COVID era. In terms of pre-COVID, is yes, whatever has happened and is continued to happen. So lockdown has been extended, as we all know, to 3rd May, and couple of areas are going to have a relief, or may get relief if they don't have cases by 20th April. In terms of startups and its founder businesses, we have been talking about which are industry are going to thrive, which are the what is the situation about funding, how it is going to be about. Yes, most of the speakers have shared that, and that yes, there will be a slowdown for a moment. There will be a slowdown, and it will take some time to come up, but it is not that negative all the time, right? So there is always challenging time comes with some positive vibes, and which is there. Silpa is back. So are you able to see Silpa? Are you able to talk to us now?
Yes, Ashish, I'm able to talk to you. There is some extremely bad weather and high wind velocity here. Maybe that's why the connection might be a little bit unstable.
Okay, no
We are
problem.
living in
So
uncertain times, and we will smile and go through this session.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was trying to brief people about the what happened in the past in couple of sessions we have been talking about. So I'll take it from there. So guys, Shilpa is back. Maybe Shilpa, if you can start talking about Uno Mantra, and then we take it forward from there.
Sure. Uno Mantra, of which I am the founder and CEO, is a business strategy consulting firm. I have an experience of about 25 years in the consumer and lifestyle businesses. And the strategic consulting that I offer today is in this domain. So these are very exciting businesses: beauty, fashion, health, wellness, food and beverages, urban living. So everything that we, you and I consume today in our everyday life and helps us to live a better life is what we look at. So what I consult in, I also am a to CFO phase to be able to grow your business. So it is quite important that we continue to grow ourselves as leaders and founders before we can think of growing our business. And this is something that I also definitely emphasize on a lot. So business strategy and leadership coaching is what Uno Mantra does. We also help businesses connect with their purpose, because you will appreciate that now, especially post COVID, consumers will be asking brands a lot of questions before they decide to part with their money. And it is said that the consumer always pays with their dollar, and that's why brands need to become much more sensitive about the purpose of why they exist and what really is their business, not just center it on profitability alone.
Right. So, in terms of what are the so we'll take it forward from here. I think so. Connection is also much better now. The previous conversation was very this thing. So, what are the top three concerns that your clients have shared with you during this lockdown period? Maybe we can talk about it because your customers, your clients are main related to the wellness, healthcare, and fashion industry. So, what are the top three their concerns when they talk to you during this lockdown period?
Sure. So we are having some interesting conversations these days, Ashish, and a lot of those conversations are about the short-term impact of what they are going through, and of course, there is going to be a medium to long-term impact. In the short, people
Mm.
have primarily three big concerns. The first is that demand has really fallen or stagnated. Revenues have dried up, and for many people, their supply chains have been totally disrupted as well. So I think that is a very short-term battle many are fighting because suddenly the revenues have dried up, right? The second thing which is impacting people in the short term is that all the planning, the strategic planning that had been done, especially for the new financial year, was done keeping in mind a certain runway, a certain cost of funds, and certain investments planned in a way that would help them to grow in this financial year. Now, suddenly, they find that with the revenues drying up, their P&L improved every 2 to 6 months. And that is where they have to go back, and I have to go back to the drawing board with them and almost re-strategize how we are going to work on financial year 21 from scratch. So that's the other thing, that the runway, the cost of funds, and the redeployment of the limited funds into new prioritized areas is going to become very critical. So that's the second very big concern people have. And the third concern is to do with skill sets. A lot of people started their businesses when the going was good.
Maybe you can try and connect by the time I talk to the audience. Maybe you can try and connect with the iPad or other device.
The fundamentals from a consumer and lifestyle looked quite solid. So even sorry, Ashish, your voice is coming back. So I'll just go on and finish, and then you can ask me the question. So that's where the third thing comes in, which is
Shilpa, I think so. You
being
should.
ready
You should.
as a business person to deal with what I'm going through.
Yeah,
We are
we are
all
not able to
thrown
hear you. We are.
into VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And most people are not skilled as being thrown upon us almost in the beginning of a brand new calendar year. So that is where there is a big demand on coaching now, so that the leaders can upgrade themselves, so that they can take the right decisions for themselves and their businesses. There are a lot of decisions to be taken in terms of reducing fixed costs, primarily what to do with my workforce. Do we freeze salaries, reduce them? Do we fire people? Do we move into smaller offices? A lot of that re-strategizing is required. Many people feel very, very, say, numbed by this whole experience, and they are unable to act in the absence of
Shilpa, Shilpa,
their
I think
information.
so. I think so. I think so. We are losing you. We are losing you. You will have to re-log in through other device. Which device you are currently right now? Maybe try with Wi-Fi only, ma'am. Okay. By the time I talk to the people, you can rejoin after on the Wi-Fi. Sorry, guys. Sorry for interruptions. Today is really, it has never happened earlier. But yeah, today technology is not working, especially in her area because it looks like there is it's raining outside and she got disconnected. But now she's working on the other device. So maybe let her come back and then we add her. Sorry and thank you for your patience.
Ashish, are you able to see and hear me?
I can see you and hear you also. Looks better.
Okay.
Yeah, you can continue. So let me just continue to stay here on this device, please.
Sure.
Um, so we were talking about the top three concern, and many of the people I could not hear, but let's cover that later on. Um,
Sure.
what are some of the possible solution you can suggest to our audience if they have the same concerns, like the same concerns what we have discussed in the previous question? And I would request in the meanwhile to audience, now looks like a better connection, so you can always ask a question in the comment box, and I will take up them whenever I see them. Okay. Okay, go on, ma'am, please. So that's a
Sure.
solution part. Yes.
Yeah. So apologies for this really bad connection, but I'll do a very quick recap. So in terms of the big concerns, one really being disruption of demand, revenues, supply chains.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, the financing options, and thirdly, a lot of even CEOs, top leaders are finding that the skill sets are not adequate to help them go through this big crisis. Right? They are falling
Right.
short when it comes to how do I fire people, right? How do I go and give my investors bad news? So these are
Absolutely.
skill sets which people needed, and they felt that suddenly they don't have enough. So some of the solutions. Number one, I would say that keep a sense of calm and do not panic. Especially if you are the leader of an organization, do understand that you are not the only one going through this troubled times. Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, this disconnected sort of session could have unnerved me completely. Ashish and I really rehearsed. We had a plan A, B, C. But you can see I'm calm, I'm smiling because we knew that we will get through this session today, come whatever may. We were determined to give you value for your time, right? Both Ashish and I. So that is how a leader really needs to take a deep breath, calm down, and then look at realistically getting the right perspective that what exactly is the problem that I am facing. Because what happens is because we watch too much of news and we talk to friends who are going through various troubles, we tend to multiply our troubles. So the best recommendation is please, for once, just think about yourself. You could have been in a business which was not importing lots of stuff from China, which means your supply chain is not as disrupted as your neighbors or your friends, right? Thankfully, you were based here and had local production for your supply chain and raw materials. You will get back in the game much faster, okay, than perhaps a lot of other people. The second thing is that once you get the perspective as to how deep is my problem, start connecting with positive people who can give you the right advice. Do not take advice from people who have not been in crisis situations before. Okay, we cannot have the blind leading the blind at this point in time. So please connect with the right mentors. Even if you have to pay a little for getting that advice, invest in it so that you are better prepared than your competitors. This time is a great opportunity. And there will be one half of the world that will see it as a crisis, and there will be the other half of the world who will take it as an opportunity. You have to decide which half do you belong to, right? And that mindset will make all the difference in your approach to finding the right action plan and really breaking it down into one, two, three. These are the things that I need to do. These are the people I can connect with who can help me out at this point in time, right? And then go out and really ask for that help. You will be so surprised how much people are wanting to help at this point in time as well. Okay, so that's the second thing. And thirdly, please have a bias for action. Don't sit and wait for things to improve. Don't sit and wait for the next announcement to come from the government. Don't wait for the next stimulus package to be announced. I do understand that might make life easier. Right now, it's a question of survival for many. I have empathy for that. But I have also been a leader who has been through several crisis points in a 25-year-old career, right? Working with MNCs who have businesses across the globe. Somewhere or the other around the world, we always had trouble. So it isn't as if trouble is hounding us for the first time. Perhaps it is hounding you for the first time, right? So have that perspective that this too shall pass. But what can I do every day to get out of this crisis if I'm taking it like that and convert it to an opportunity, which is what I would encourage everybody logged in to do. Ashish.
Agreed. I think so. You said absolutely right. I mean, say it is a time for looking for an opportunity in this phase. Then yes, challenges, when there are more challenges, opportunities are also more. And also, it is important when you are working that action you said, right? At
Correct.
times, what happened? We keep learning, keep learning, keep learning, but we don't take actions. So apart from the focused learning, we should start taking small steps and start doing it and start working towards it. When you start taking steps, then you start reaching somewhere. If you don't take a step, you won't reach somewhere. You rather, you will be more deep into the problems only. So
Correct.
all the sessions what we have been doing is not for sharing that okay there is a world has fallen or something. It is almost all the speakers have said that we have to start taking action. There was a time when we had a crisis, but however this crisis is very unique. Many of us are seeing this crisis in once in a lifetime, right? So it will happen, it will keep happen. So but we have to come out of the situation. We can't be part of the problem. At times we might have to become little opportunistic in nature to for survival. We might have to little diversify for some month or some years, so that the cash flow is maintained. We might have to take many situations, right, in terms of. So some people, I was talking in the morning and they said, no, no, no. In our case, nothing can be done. ऐसा नहीं होता है. It doesn't work that way, right? You will have to have a solution. It will come out, and you have to start working on it. So thank you, Shilpa, for this insightful suggestion. One more thing which always comes that entrepreneurship is a mindset, and we have been hearing this entrepreneur word is very recent time actually. Earlier it used to be called business person. I'm a businessman. Uh, Nobody used to say founder. The people used to say owner. There are so many things. Then in the companies, people used to say okay, MD, CEO. All that is fine. Entrepreneurs word started using in a common language, everyday language, when the startup started taking the lead. So people have been talking about entrepreneurship mindset ultimately, which is a business mindset or entrepreneurship mindset. So about that, what that mindset plays also a big role in this crisis time. That how you actually work, how do you actually execute your actions, how do you actually take the challenges or threats or opportunity in front of you, how do you conduct your own SWOT analysis in such tough time, right? And then take it forward from there. So, what are the key mindset parameter or attribute you would like to cover in terms of for people to develop or especially required in this particular crisis phase?
Right. So I speak a lot on entrepreneurship. It's a favorite topic of mine, and I always say that being an entrepreneur is not a profession; it's a lifestyle. Similarly, entrepreneurship is again not really just an attribute or a quality, but it's more about a mindset, right? It is about seeing possibilities before others see them and seizing them before others have actually exploited them. So at this point in time, I would say that there would be five things which people can do, which can have the biggest impact in helping them to exhibit an entrepreneurial mindset. And to have an entrepreneurial mindset, you don't just have to be an entrepreneur. You could be in a job, right? You could be an employed professional, an employed leader, and still you could show an entrepreneurial mindset. So, what are those five things that I want to leave the audience with today? The first really is that this is the time to reset your goals and to revisit them daily. I see today a lot of people who say that I'm busier than normal days because I attend 5 webinars a day. I'm trying to learn this and learn that, and trying to be feeling very useful. But then I challenge them to say that learning is great and no learning ever goes waste. But you also have a very big responsibility towards your future, your family, and your organization, right? So please step back, reset your goals, and then see what are the action plans that I need to make which are aligned to those goals. Definitely jump onto webinars and online courses that help you to achieve those goals, because those goals will help you to get the lifestyle of your dreams. Otherwise, come May 3rd, you will feel very empty. And you would say that, my God, I was so busy, yet I achieved nothing. And you will not be prepared enough for life post the lockdown, life post COVID. So, this is the time to reset those goals, number one. All entrepreneurs, good entrepreneurs, are doing that. The second thing is um, to really be relentless and to show resilience. This is not the end of the world. This is come to us for a certain reason. So let us take all the lessons that we need to learn from this as a human race, as leaders, as human beings, right? And then go ahead with those lessons, but be relentless in our pursuit of our goals. There's no point giving up. So go out, ask for support, but build resilience. It's a great muscle. And all entrepreneurs show resilience. This is one of their top qualities, right? Just not never giving up. The third thing is that I find people with an entrepreneurial mindset as very resourceful. So they don't believe that they have all the answers. They don't believe in not sharing. Yeah, they're very open in sharing what they know, but they're also openly asking for help and collaborating with other people. So you are seeing that businesses suddenly are making connections and alignments and strategic alliances which would have been unheard of before. And there are companies in the same industry. One company is sitting and waiting for things to become better, and then there is another company which has maybe even taken an alliance route with a competitor, and both of them are now starting to generate revenues. Customers are happy to see them back in the game, and they will come out of this so much faster. So that's where good entrepreneurs are always very resourceful, very collaborative. That's the third R. So if you notice, the first R was reset your goals. The second R was be resilient and relentless. And the third R is be resourceful. And connected to that R is really that deepen your relationships. Don't just have superficial relationships. This is also a great time to reconnect with your customers, a great time to reconnect with your vendors, reconnect with your employees, your own family. So everybody who matters to you and your future, great time to reconnect with all those people. The fourth thing is that this is the time to build reputation also. Okay, this reputation will hold you in good stead. If you are hiding somewhere in this time and not showing up because we are scared, nobody will know you even post COVID. But if this is the time that you're reaching out to people, offering help, saying what can I do for you, giving value, whether it is through your LinkedIn, whether it is through in-person, phone calls. I think that's a great way to start to build your reputation, making that connect with people, not to say, what can you do for me, but really to say, I'm here, I'm available, what can I do for you? Right? So this is something which is something which will really make you stand miles apart from all the other people. And the last one I want to say is entrepreneurs are curious people. So the last R, the fifth R is raise questions. If you attend a webinar, always ask a question. If you read a good post on LinkedIn, ask a question. Think deeply about it. If you want to talk to new investors or people outside your domain, continue to do that. Very welcome. But don't leave a day where you have not asked something new to somebody new, because curiosity is what makes entrepreneurs really, really special. So these are the 5 R's, Ashish, I can leave our audience with today. And I
I
really
think
hope that
it is great, and I did not disrupted you in between because I was listening to that very carefully. I think so. These 5 hours are definitely make sense to the people. Another question I'm thinking that people will ask question, but people are watching, but no question coming in. It's interesting. What are the some of the suppose there is a CEO and who has a who is watching in this lockdown happening and whatever things are happening and it's been extended now to 3rd May. What is your advice to them? Some of the people who are new, young, and they are not that much of experience in the business, that they should go and get back the business right away, or they should watch, wait and watch, adopt a wait and watch policy until it opens, or they should have a plan ready. Actually, ideally, that's the situation. What is your advice to them?
okay. So actually, let me share the advice I'm giving through Unomantra to all the CEOs and founders that I work with. And actually, this is the first time I will be sharing this on a public platform. So MentorCard is the first one to hear this. My recommendation is that I want you to divide your time ahead in 3 phases. So the first phase really is about reflection and reconnection. So this is the phase that all of us, you and I, are going through right now. So we can sit quiet and watch a lot of Netflix and enjoy ourselves, or just attend some random seminars and courses, or we can deeply reflect and reconnect. What do I mean by that? Let me just elaborate that a bit. This is a great opportunity, a great period where we should reflect upon the purpose of our business. Why do I exist? Do I have relevance in this new world post the COVID or not? And be very honest with yourself. And it is absolutely okay if you find that, okay, maybe I don't have that much relevance as I felt I had before. The second is, look at your go to market strategy. A lot of us were running operations, and it was tough enough to run those operations. We never had a chance to sit back and think what is going well, what is not going well. So, the next thing that you must really evaluate, I mean, literally, point A to point Z should be your go to market strategy. The third thing, look at your brand strategy, especially for businesses which are consumer lifestyle. The brand is what is king, and that is what you would be always known for. You'll be able to encash on that. That's your equity in the future. So brand integrity will become an extremely important phrase you will hear again and again post COVID. Okay, so and how is that to be achieved? You have to think deeply about your current strategy and what would you do differently from now on. Things which you always wanted to but never did before. Why? Things which you never thought of and now you're suddenly discovering those. Time to think about how you will implement that. So really reflect a lot on that. Also reflect on the people, culture, and organizational design. So before you run to fire people just because some bosses wanted, investors wanted, other stakeholders wanted, your boards wanted, um, think, because it's easy to fire. I know many people find it difficult, but honestly, it's easy to fire, much more difficult to hire the right person later on.
Absolutely.
So really look at this with caution. Could there be interim things you could do in terms of changing your salary structures? Another thing I'm recommending is think of growth bonuses, so that when the team comes back, even if they are taking a pay cut right now, could you launch in parallel a growth bonus so that everybody has the incentive to bring the business back full throttle when we are open and ready for business again, right? And so reflect and reconnect back with your business very deeply, also with different stakeholders of your business. And I've spoken about that before. The next phase will be when we will be allowed to go back to our real offices. Some of you might decide that you never need a real office in your life, after this, your choice. But what I really mean is that when we get back into action, we can actually travel to places. All of that really starts to, unfold once again in our lives. That phase I am designing with my clients as a reboot and restore phase, right? So Ashish's advice to me was, Shilpa, can you log out and log in again? So literally, reboot into the session now. That's exactly what we need to do. We had a problem. We actually were logged out for some time, locked out. So now we need to come back again and reboot and restore our everyday operations first. What are some of the things that you will prioritize? So what we are right now doing is, Ashish, making priority matrices, that what are we going to do first, what our
Yes.
first week would look like, second week would look like, third week would look like, etc. Now the third phase will be very interesting, and I am naming that phase as reimagine and renew. So a lot of my opportunistic clients especially are already talking about pivoting or diversifying into additional portfolios. There is an electronics firm which is looking at can they also branch out into doing health, hygiene, and wellness, because they had great connections with the supply chain people. So how can they leverage their relationships and do more? So these are the three phases that I highly recommend everybody, every CEO to think about. Don't think about just now. Don't think about just 3 to 6 months, but really plan it phase wise, and you will be so clear and so proactive as to what do you do when you hit back the real world again.
Yeah, and so at last I'm saying, yeah, we since we had disruption between, so we are running out of time. But at the last, we would like to know is that what is happening in the consumer and lifestyle industry, and you know what, any kind of this crisis generally brings a change in consumer behavior or buying pattern, or the things, the way we were doing business is different, right? So what do you see in the future which is upcoming for this industry? Something new or something disruptive, or what is your advice to these young fashion lifestyle startups in generally?
Sure. This has always been an exciting space. It will continue to be an exciting space. Uh, a lot of my clients and those in the industry in this domain did face disruption. Many of the products were seen as non-essentials. They are also discretionary spends, so they are not a must-have. They are a nice-to-have. So this is where consumers generally hold back whenever they are faced with a threat, right? Or they sense recessionary trends coming in. So people downtrade, they hold back purchases, all of that. And now the whole COVID lockdown situation only increased the intensity of that hurt and that pain for
Right.
these businesses, right? At the same time, I think a lot of those businesses will be one of the first ones to come out of the crisis, because there will be renewed focus on, like I said, health, hygiene, wellness, living life in a better way. So that's something which will definitely work very well. A lot of the lifestyle products, for example, for virtual conferencing, people will want good gadgets. They will want things which will help them to stay well, and in a good place, in convenience as well. So I think that's something that people will be looking for. And that's where a lot of these companies have the big opportunity to be very innovative, to come up with products which people have never seen before. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I heard in one of the sessions you said, and this is a consumer experience, that your wife had groceries coming into the house, and these days we are sanitizing everything. So she said, could there be an easy way where we just spray once and the groceries are sanitized, rather than thinking about putting in the sun or doing this or that? So my advice again here would be to these companies: think about the consumer and their new lifestyle. What is the new normal in our lives? There are new needs which have come up. So the ones who are able to leverage these new needs faster than the others, are the ones who can actually encash on that and even charge a premium, which people will pay happily. And then there will be those who are doing run of the mill. They will be copied, they will be bought over. We will see a lot of merger and acquisition activity as well happening. So some people should really start to get ready for that as well, especially if you don't have a moat or it is a very weak moat. So that's where I would really look at these businesses. Again, big opportunity, but not without short-term pain.
Right. Thank you for the insight, Shilpa. I have one question from Saurabh Dayal, who is asking that any advice to organized retail startups, organized retail startups. Yes.
So I would say that we will see consumers walking back and leveraging on organized retail. India still has a huge runway ahead for retail in general. I think we are really under leveraged and under penetrated as a market. There will be first time shoppers who will start to use organized retail. Many people are very thankful that organized retail actually helped them at this point in time, in terms of taking away the misery of buying everyday essentials. Whether small, medium, big formats, all of them really helped out. So I would say again here, look at innovation. Look at that consumers will be scared to make a lot of contact. So what could we do to up our standards, to change some of the processes and protocols followed, whether it is with our procurement or it is with our customer service? What can we do in terms of personalizing the whole experience so that people want to come back into the store even if they are scared? So a lot of owners will actually be back on the organized retail to make consumers feel comfortable in walking into physical stores once again too. E-commerce, of course, would rebound and add to their growth story in times to come, and we're already seeing that post 20th, the big guns are ready to fire once again. So I see that we need to make changes. We need to be innovative. We need to study the consumer, understand their new needs, and make changes and adapt accordingly. It will be a good time coming in the future for sure.
I think so. It's a great insight, and I know that Saurabh comes from the eyewear retail Clear Dekho, and also in terms of time, we are already running out of. So probably that will be the last question to take it. Anam is saying that Shilpa, your voice is muting. I think so. We are getting nice voice from Shilpa now, so he's uninterrupted. Probably you need to check your end. And thank you very much for watching us and coming to this show, Shilpa. Thank you very much. And nice conversation we had on various aspects, especially these 5 hours and mindset. What we talk about entrepreneurship, right? So these are the couple of points that are really a takeaways. I would say. Thank you once again, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Ashish, and stay safe, everybody. Take precautions, and we'll achieve things, big things together in the future. All the best, everybody.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you very much, Silpa. So, guys, we had initial interruptions, but yes, we finally could conclude certain discussions, certain points. These 5 hours are really takeaways for today's session. I think so. You guys should watch again and take a note of them. In terms of mindset, yeah, that's another thing. Entrepreneurship mindset always say that to be positive all the time. So lot of I'm sure positivity and innovation will come out of this crisis. Some of the sectors we have been talking about, like manufacturing, may reforms in India, and it may give a bigger opportunity due to this COVID-19. And also logistic and supply chain will also do a lot of innovations, because people will go more for e-commerce in future, and other than the retail. But remember, right now the e-commerce is only 4%, right? So when it increases, it means that you need lot of logistic and supply chain startups to address this problem, address this need, right? Thank you very much for the time and listening to us. We'll come back with tomorrow's session is very interesting. That's on fundraising, and it's by investor called Mr. Nalin Singh. Tomorrow at 5:30 we will talk about it. We'll come live again, and we'll take it forward from there. Thank you very much.